In this video, we'll take a look at SKAARHOJ fader boards for Stagetec via Ember Plus. And more specifically, we are using the legendary WaveBoard. It has motorized faders in channel strips with displays, buttons, an encoder knob, and a VU meter display, all integrated, plus paging buttons on the side. It's fully configurable and customizable to build your ideal control solution. And this also allows you to use SKAARHOJ panels as a tactile fader surface for mixing on Stagetec. But it goes even further because you can browse any Stagetec parameter on the Ember Plus tree and assign it to any button, encoder or fader on the WaveBoard. So let's look at that, how that works. And if you've watched our videos before, you know that often we have default configurations that you can apply out of the box for a specific device. Today, we'll actually go the other way. We'll look at how we can build this up from the button. And one of the reasons why we need to do that is because the Ember Plus tree means that we don't know which parameters are out there. It also means that what we show today with Stagetec is applicable for any Ember Plus device. So if you have something else, then you know it's the same process. So we are basically going to explore what Stagetec has to offer us, what it's exposing. Then we'll pick parameters and we'll map them onto the WaveBoard. So this is the UI of the WaveBoard, and we see that we have created a custom configuration. So it's completely blank. The WaveBoard doesn't show anything. If I move faders, nothing is happening. But I am connected to the Stagetec Nexus Compact device. It's not here in the studio because it's just a device with an LED and some network ports on the backside. But I want to show you how it's hooked up today. So let's just open TeamViewer here so we can get a look at the other PC that is running these things. First of all, for audio, we see we have an application that is playing back multiple audio tracks. And then we have the Dante controller that is mapping this into the Stagetec device. And then finally, this is the web UI of the Stagetec Nexus Compact, where we can see we have audio over IP channels 1 through 8, 9 to 16, etc. And we see the first channels here. So we have a fader knob that we can move. Usually this UI is not super, that moved. Okay, so that's the reason why we need tactile control. But I want to move that fader, right? That fader, we should be able to operate that on the WaveBoard. We also have a mute button here. We have a stereo button, and some of these things can be mapped down. So let's take a look at that. We are searching for audio over IP on channel number 1, probably channel number 3, and then map that onto the WaveBoard. So let's go back to the web UI of the WaveBoard and then into the Ember Plus Explorer. So the device core, the application, the package we have installed on the WaveBoard called Ember Plus here, we have added the device already on this IP address. And if we discover some of these settings, there's also a port. There is something called a model ID, and it's set to user model number 1. Now, that user model means that we are basically responsible for putting parameters into it. So the next thing we need to do is to basically pick parameters from the Ember Plus tree for user model 1. So let's do that, and it happens in this tab called Ember Plus Explorer. That is available because we installed the Ember Plus device core. So it's a special extension of the UI that we can now use. And the first thing we want to do is to pick the IP address of the Stagetec device, and we connect to it. So as we are connecting, we are now seeing the parameters like the audio parameters from the Stagetec device. What we see here, the Ember Plus Explorer didn't know before it connected. So again, another Ember Plus device would show you something different. Now we can explore it, and we have inputs, we browse down, we find that there's this audio over IP on channel number 1. That's interesting. So which one of these might it be? Gain is the one that is controlling the volume, the gain of the channel. And that's the one that I want to operate. Now, you can see the current value is 9 here. So that may correspond to what it says here. But if I change it to 5, you'll see that over in the UI, it actually jumped up to 5. So this is kind of useful. And to kind of validate that, yes, I am working with the right parameters. So now it's getting exciting, and we'll be adding this to our model. So we basically now set this parameter. We want to be able to map that to the fader. Before we apply our configuration, we want to do a few things more. One could be to say level channel number 1, and we could add a label for it. Okay, and we can add a minimum and a maximum value. So this is what helps us to have the right range in the UI. So we have -20 to +20 over here. So I'll just type in -20 to +20, let the default be 0. I'll save this, and now I can apply my config. So before we move on, I want to also just take a Boolean parameter, and that would be connecting again to the device here, exploring the audio, the inputs, going to number 1, and select mute. We can test. I just muted the channel. I unmuted the channel. Okay, it is the right parameter. What happens if I click here? I'm muting the channel. Do I get that readback here? I'm not sure. We'll test that in a moment, because it may just be this UI that is not showing it. But anyway, we have the Boolean added, mute channel number 1, and we'll just call it mute 1, save. And we could then, why not just right away find one more parameter that we want to add in here. So apart from mute, we want to have, let's do stereo. Would we want to do that? Maybe. Okay, maybe. I will take this one, add it to the model. So it's also a Boolean that turns stereo on off. And we'll call that stereo here. Stereo 1. Now, the thing is that, as you can see, we are currently doing all this for the first audio channel, and we have more audio channels. So just for the illustration here, if I go to number 3, I basically need to do the same for this channel, but I'll show you a smarter way of doing it in a moment. But at first, we are picking individual parameters and mapping that into our configuration UI. So I'll add this one, gain, so we can have fader control for another channel, add it to model. We see that now we have 2 types of gain here, one for channel 1 and channel 3. So we'll call this, as we did before, level channel number 3. And I think I called it channel 3 or level 3. We will add the minimum value to -20, +20, and save. Okay, now let's apply this config and start mapping these parameters onto our panel. So there we go. We are now ready to go home to the home screen, but actually it's the configuration tab that I want to go to, because on this tab we can now pick the fader, and then over here on the side you'll see that we have, oh, sorry about that, let's do it again. Over here on the side we have the model Stagetec Nexus Compact 1, and it has the exact 4 parameters that I designed. We have level 1, mute 1, stereo 1. So let's just pick level 1 for this one. And voila, we now see the motorized fader getting into position. That's exciting. So what if we take this one and make it the mute? Okay, so we just apply mute to this one. We will click this one and apply stereo to it. Maybe we open here and we check if we could have some sort of coloring happening. I want to have a blue color for this one. So now it's blue for the mute button. I want to have another color as well. So in default here, I will pick a purple color for that one. Just to illustrate, what about the display? We could actually try that one out. So what if we apply level to the display? Let's try that out. Actually, now we see a level indicator. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And we can also do this for the encoder up here. Now, I know that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to now have 2 hardware components that are just the same value. But just to illustrate that we can do it, and as I'm using the encoder to change the level, you see the fader is actually moving along here. Big question is, what about the other UI? What about over here? So as I'm moving the fader, yes, it is actually moving along over here. It's toggling mute on and off. If I press stereo, we are toggling stereo on and off for channel 1 and 2. And it's a little bit slow here with TeamViewer in between. Sorry about that, but you see this would correspond to what happens when that stereo button is pressed. That is collapsing or expanding channel number 1 and channel number 2 right there. Okay, so this is it's now shown that we actually can control that. What about the third channel that I did? So if I map that onto this fader, let's just try that out real quick here, and we can quickly do the same for this as well. You will now see that one fader is controlling the channel 3 and 4, and another fader is controlling channel 1 and 2. Exactly as I wanted it, really. We have done a lot in a very short time by doing this, but one of the problems that you may already see is how can we do that for many channels. So you probably understand the basic concept, but it's a lot of work, and there must be a smarter way of doing some of that. And I'll show you that now. Now it gets a little more complex. We will get into, so maybe the message right now is that you can easily pick Ember Plus parameters, map it onto buttons, knobs, faders, displays, and have something useful. And it may stop there for you. But what I will show you now is how can we make a variable, a value that we can use to basically pick the level parameter only once, and then we can reuse it, but only changing the channel number. So that's what I want to do on my configuration. So try to follow me here. We go back into the Ember Explorer, and I basically want to just kill this parameter level number 3 down here. And we go back to the one called gain, and we will basically edit this one. So by going in here, I will change this number 1, which has actually the significance of picking channel number 1. And then I'll insert curly braces and call this channel. All right. And I'm gonna do that on some of the others as well. But just for now, let's do it on this one, because now I need to get into the editor. All right, so inside the editor, we have our beloved JSON, which is the configuration code that is underlying most of the things inside of the waveboard, and certainly so for the parameters of the Ember Plus tree. You can do a lot of funky things in there. Some of you will run screaming away. Some of you will be like, yeah, that's awesome. So let's have the yeah, that's awesome attitude for this next session. There are some helps like control space will bring up available options, and one of them is parameter dimensions, because when you want to have to integrate that variable, we call that a dimension. So for parameter dimensions, we can have multiple of these, and one of them we can integrate would be, or the first one is the, let's give it a label, channel, and we need an identifier. That would be channel with lowercase. That's the identifier we put in up here. All right. And then we need to also tell it what is the min and max values that we should accept here. So a start number for a dimension would be 1 most typically, and then a number could be 100. Or how many channels that you want it to support. And then you need to watch out for the curly lines that indicates that you have some sort of error in your JSON. So this should be okay. I saved it successfully. We could have made a mistake. That would have been bad. And now I'm assuming this is working. So I'm just gonna copy, including this little comma here. I'm going to copy this section and I'm pasting it in on the 2 spaces below, because I also want these dimensions to be true for my stereo and my mute parameter, okay? So I just copied that. And then I want to do the same up here for the variable insertion that I have here. So where it says 1, I'll remove and insert that, and also do it down here. Good. Save JSON, apply config. And then we can go back to our configuration here, and now we need to modify many of these, okay? Because unfortunately, I am afraid that if I'm pulling this handle, we are not seeing any response here anymore, because what we did was actually to change how this is designed. Now, let's just change behavior by going 1 step back and then open this one up again. And I should have changed it to just level instead of level 1. Let's just quickly do that. Okay, so I want this, because now it's more flexible, right? It's not anymore channel 1. It depends on the dimension that we have added. So I'll quickly remove these. Okay, there we go. And that means that I also changed the parameter naming actually. So now it's completely invalid. Apply config, go back to configuration. Let's quickly do this. Yes, okay. So back in here, we will go back. We will open this one up. It says level. I pick level, and now notice what happens. Apart from the device ID, which is automatically being 1, referring to this device ID here, we also have the other value, the channel, which is the one that we are now inserting dynamically. So let's quickly do it for this one as well. So we just add that. Okay, that looks good. What about this one? We will change the behavior. We'll pick level. We will pick, actually, if it's 1, it means that these two are going to follow each other, right? But we want to pick 3. So it's channel number 3 we're picking. And now these are separate. And let's quickly also map it down on this guy. So level here, picking channel number 3. Yes, thank you. And then we have the mute button. Can we select 2? Maybe we can select 2 at a time. And okay, we'll just mute. And then for one of them, we want to select channel number 3. Let's just quickly check this one. So 1, number 3, stereo up here. Let's do this stereo, 1 and 1, stereo, and 1 and 3. Okay, now I am really excited to see how this works out, okay? So back to the UI from TeamViewer. I'm moving this one. Yes, that was channel number 1 and channel number 3. Muting channel number 3, muting channel number 1, stereo on off on channel number 3 and channel number 1. You see the potential of that, because if we have paging buttons where we can go to multiple pages, it would be so much easier if it is the same parameter we map to all of these, and all we need to change is this little number for each one of them. And even that can be automated inside of Reactor. But that's something for a different video. Main point is that we could do Stagetec control via the Ember Plus tree and basically any other Ember Plus device, map it onto the waveboard. We can even mix it with parameters for many other devices. So you'll find videos about that online if you are really curious about it, but that's like the main message in this video. What I haven't mentioned is that any SKAARHOJ controller can integrate with Stagetec for a wide range of workflows. The waveboard is perfect for mixing scenarios, but you can also choose a rack-mounted panel to mute channels or adjust levels using encoders. And if you enjoyed this video, I suggest that you like and subscribe. If you are into audio control and Stagetec integration, make sure to follow Stagetec on social media. On this channel, we feature news and updates on all kinds of integrations in the SKAARHOJ universe, so hit like and subscribe. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and you can subscribe to our newsletter and connect directly with our sales and support team for personalized assistance. So all the links to that is in the description below this video. Thank you for watching.